What I've learned is that if you've learned the lesson, you can let go without losing anything because you're not losing something because it was never yours to lose. It came to teach you a lesson. We can thank that lesson and we can continue to evolve, knowing that if it is ever meant to come back into our lives, it will. Because when the job is done, you are allowed to let them go. You are allowed to thank them. You are allowed to still feel pain over what they did or which wounds they posted or poked. We're allowed to feel resentful and sad and angry. We're allowed to think we're in love with them. Whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay. But when the job is done, you need to let them go, knowing that if they are meant to come back, they will. Welcome to Healing Honeys, the podcast for girls with big dreams trying to balance it all. I'm Louise Rumball, serial entrepreneur, type A overachiever, healing girlie, and holistic wellness coach who also once got called the Jesus of modern dating. But let's get one thing straight. My healing era has never been calm. I'm talking savage dating stories, 20 cigarettes a day, daddy issues, an anxious attachment style, and an autoimmune disorder too. Today, I've spent thousands of dollars on healing and therapy, and now I'm here to guide you, love you, and laugh with you as I share my favorite tips, tricks, and rituals that have saved me along the way. With new episodes every Wednesday, expect girl talk, psychology, and the nervous system, as well as love, sex, and dating, wellness, fitness, and a little bit of business and spirituality too. So get in, honey. We are balancing healing, hustling, and life, and the best is yet to come. And if you're looking for ad-free listening or my somatic healing subscription daily devotion, just head over to the show notes. Now, let's get into it. Hi, my honeys. Welcome back to another episode of Healing Honeys. I'm your host, Louise Rumball, and today we are talking about my crazy soul tie story. Now, if you've been listening to some of my previous episodes, you will know that the universe has been making it really fucking hard for me to podcast. I will record episodes, the mic will have broken, the technology will have broken, I'll have to re-record. There have been some episodes that I've had to re-record up to 3 times, which honestly really just takes the magic out of it. And that happened with the intro to today's episode. So I'm just recording another one to let you know that I'm about to tell you about the craziest story of my life. If you don't believe in anything spiritual, if you think everything is a coincidence in life, this episode is not going to be for you. This is for the people that are open-minded, open-hearted, who have felt something so deeply for someone at some point in their life, but knowing that it didn't quite feel right or normal. Like, how could you feel that for someone that you really hardly know, or that you've only met a couple of times, or you've only been intimate with once or a couple of times, handful of times, whatever, you get the gist. That's what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about my experience with a soul tie. And it goes without saying that my boyfriend knows all about this story. I think that's the thing about healthy love, is you can really share anything and everything because there's so much safety to just be yourself. So he is fine with me sharing this story. I'm hoping the guy will never listen, if I'm honest, but that's life. So I hope that today's episode helps someone on this journey, helps you feel less alone, less crazy, and help you understand that ultimately this person has come to teach you something, even if it doesn't make sense at the time. So if you are ready, I am ready. Let's get into it. Ignore the next part of this episode. I was going to do a mukbang, which is like where I ordered food and I was going to eat it whilst recording, but it didn't work. There was just food going all over my bed, and like trying to talk and eat at the same time was really difficult. So that is where we kick off today. If you are ready, I am ready. Let me know how you get on. Let me know if you've ever experienced this. My DMs are open and I love you guys. Let's do this. Okay, I'm back. Today's episode is not going well so far. I just got another call from the concierge downstairs being like, you have a package. I'm like, it's 9 p.m. on a Friday night. I'm trying to record a podcast whilst eating a cookie. I realized the cookie was delaying me, so I'm just going to put the cookie away. The mukbang life is clearly not for me. So let's get into this. Now, my soul tie story started around 5 years ago. You guys know I'm really bad with dates, so I really don't know if it was like 5 years, 6 years, 4 years. Basically, it was not recent. It was quite a long time ago. Now, I flew to Tulum. I think it was post-COVID. I remember finally being able to leave the UK, and I just got on a plane and I left. And I was like, I need to get out of here. So I came to Mexico. I was with my friend Sarah, the potent plant. And this is all kind of vague, but I remember that I was single at the time. I think I had come out of my relationship with my ex. We've been broken up for 5 years now. So maybe this was like 4.5 years ago. And I arrived in Tulum and I was on Raya, the dating app. I don't know why people call it Raya. It's quite clearly Raya, like ray of sun, Raya. So I was on Raya, and I could do a whole podcast episode on Raya. But what I will tell you is that it's pretty much a waste of time. If you think that normal dating apps are hard, Raya is like even worse because everyone thinks they're too fucking cool for school and they're all looking for like the more famous person on the app. Anyway, one of the things about the app is that you can basically see on your location on the map, like who is around you. Anyway, so I don't remember the specifics of like matching with this person, but I matched with this guy. I don't really remember anything about his profile. I don't really remember too much at all. But what I do remember is that when we started talking, I thought he was a bit of a cunt. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but I did. He was like, oh, I don't fuck with tourists. All they want to do is take mushrooms and fuck in the jungle, blah, blah, blah. Now, as someone who then went on to live in Tulum for 3 years, I 100% understand exactly what he was talking about. Tourists in Tulum come in for a good time. They don't give a fuck. It's just a holiday for them. And if you're a local, it's like a totally different vibe. So in hindsight now, I really understand what he meant. But at the time, I was like, this guy's so weird. If you don't fuck with locals, then like, why are you on Raya? Because clearly like everyone on Raya is like 90% going to be coming through Tulum. That's what people do. So I remember that we connected. I think he followed me on Instagram. I honestly don't remember. And that was it. We did not meet. We did not fuck in the jungle. We did not take mushrooms. We did not do any of those things because I just thought you're a cunt. And I'm sorry about my language, but like that is what I thought. So again, bad with numbers, but like fast forward maybe a year later and I go back to Tulum. This time I'm with my mum. Now, you guys remember that when I first came to Tulum, my plan was to take my mum on holiday, and then it was to stay for a month on my own and write a book. I can hear you guys asking, Louise, how's the book going? Yeah, the book, I wrote 0 words. The book has not happened. I'm still in Mexico though. So a 2-month holiday turned into a 3-year life-changing monumental experience. So just get on that flight, send the text message. You never know what's going to happen. But what I remember is that I was there with my mum. We had been there for literally 3 days and we were walking down the street and we literally nearly get run over by a motorbike. And the motorbike is fucking cool. And the man on the motorbike is so fucking sexy. Like he swings it in a U-turn round. So imagine we're walking one way and imagine someone's like U-turning in the road, but like as they get to the end of the U-turn, they're basically like hitting into you, right? So he's trying to like maneuver this motorbike. And he looks at me and I look at him and he's like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And we knew instantly who each other were. He was like, hi, babe, like, hi. Now, he is South American. He's not English, so I'm not going to put on a South American accent. But it was like obviously a bit more sexy than someone being like, hi, mate. Hi, mate. How are you, mate? Yeah, good. You? Anyway, he like says hi. We say hi and we keep walking. That is really all I remember from that experience. We didn't connect after that, or maybe we did. I really don't remember. But life goes on. I had this holiday with my mum. I then had my friend Vanika come out. Now, Vanika came out to Tulum to visit me, and so did my friend Al. Now, there is this place in Tulum called Palma Central. And I think it's on a Tuesday night. They have live salsa. So we decide to go to this live salsa because Vanika loves salsa. She like actually salsa dances. So we go and we are all dancing and it's so fun. And I don't know how the fuck to salsa, but I'm doing it anyway. And these like older men are like whizzing me around and it's just so fun. I'm having the time of my life. I'm like laughing and sweating. And then I'm just dancing on my own. And then someone literally grabs my hand from above my head and spins me round. And it is the man. We need a name for him. We can call him Mr. Brazilian. He's Brazilian. So there we are. Mr. Brazilian spins me around. I'm not going to lie. It was like something out of a movie. That moment when two people are like, oh, we bumped into each other again. Like, this is crazy. It was so fun. But I was with my friends. He was with his friends. We just like didn't really connect. He went back to his friends. I went back to my friends. We had such a fun time. Now, again, memory foggy, but I think he texted me after that being like, so good to see you. But like minimal contact is what I'm trying to say here. Now, let me tell you that one of the things about Tulum is it is based on an energy vortex, which means that there are rivers under the surface of Tulum. That means that it's like a very powerful place because of all the bioenergetics, the biomagnetism, the basically the energy of the place. There's also a lot of like energy from the sacred lands of Mexico and the Aztecs. And there's just so much energy. There is just so much energy in Tulum. And that's why Tulum can either be an amazing place where your life can change or a really awful place where a lot of things can go wrong. She is called the cruel mistress. She can treat you really badly, but it's all done in a space of love. It's basically to bring you quicker and closer home to yourself. So basically coming to Tulum like speeds up your relationship with the world, your relationship with yourself, whatever soul trajectory you are on, it speeds it up. And you will have people that go there. I know lots of people that have had accidents. I know lots of people that have got super sick, that have had bad experiences there. She's a cruel mistress, but on the flip side, she also is magical. And what I will say is that the moment that I landed in Tulum was when my podcast exploded. It was when my TikTok exploded. The energy of what is good can also get gooder. Not a word, I know. But that was part of what happened to me. Now, another thing about Tulum is like, you will have so many coincidences that you can't even explain. You will cross paths with people that you just like couldn't even imagine that you would cross paths with. And if you are meant to meet them or see them, be with them or learn something from them, Tulum will bring you together. Sometimes gently, sometimes frequently, and sometimes like a fucking smack in the face. So with that knowledge and information in mind, when I tell you that I bumped into this guy quite literally every day for 5 days after this, I'm not joking. At one point, me and Vanika even got in a taxi and we went to the wrong hotel. We put the wrong address into the driver. Okay, he's not a machine, he's a person. We told the driver the wrong address. We ended up at the wrong hotel, literally down near the jungle, down near the national park. I opened the door of my taxi, who was on the fucking floor doing push-ups. Mr. Brazilian. Hey, Mr. Brazilian, what are you doing down there? I was like, what the actual fuck? Like, the whole thing was just mental. Anyway, I would bump into him the next day in the ice cream shop. I would bump into him the next day in town. It was like, the average person would call this coincidences. But when you're on a spiritual journey, you understand that nothing is a coincidence and there is a reason behind everything. But let me just say, we kept bumping into each other, and bumping into each other. But we would never really connect. It would just be like, hi, bye, and maybe a couple of messages in between. Now, at some point, we spent some time together. I think he messaged me and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, we're at this beachfront restaurant, like, come and join us if you want. And he came. Now, when I tell you that was the start of realizing what was going on here, he walked in and he sat down next to me. And I have never felt what I felt in that moment when he looked me in the eyes, because this man was a total stranger. But he looked at me and I looked at him, and like, when I tell you, there was some fucking deep, oh my God, feeling moment that we both had when we looked into each other's eyes. It was really very intense, and things were very comfortable, tactile. We had like the best day. It was me and my friends. He was there. He had his arm around me. He was touching me. Like, it was so weird considering like I do not know this man at all. And this was like, I had done a lot of therapy at this point. So I was very aware of like the danger of the fast paced, like roller coaster romance. I really had moved away from that and I'd done so much work on it. But in this moment, it was like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy this. You know, I've been so fucking heartbroken for like 2 years before this, or like a year and a half before this. It had been COVID. It had been the freezing cold winter in England. Like, let me just enjoy this with this fucking sexy man. I'm living my best life. I'm here with my friends. Like, everything is good. Okay. So this day was magical. We never did anything, like we never kissed or anything, but I think we both left that being like, whoa, like something happened there. Again, I can't remember, but I know that he texted me afterwards saying something like, never felt anything like that before. And I don't know if I'm doing a good job at explaining it. I want you guys to be able to relate to this in case like you've ever gone through this as well. But it's like you just feel something for this person that you can't even imagine you could feel because you don't even know this person. And it's like it turns something on in your body. It is like an electric current has been turned on in your body. But it's not just that. It's like there's some form of like knowing, like you know them, you have been with them before. It's like there's no fucking way it felt like I met this guy like on this day. It felt like he'd been in my life for like a very long time before this, and we were like soulmates, and it was amazing. Anyway, after this, I started to see some red flags from this man. And thank God, praise the Lord, that I had done so much therapy, because by this point, the old me would have been like, I've never felt anything like this. This is my soulmate. I'm going to go and sleep with him. The sex is going to be so fucking bomb. And this is it. This is my soulmate. And we all know what happens when that happens. I would have been heartbroken. It would not have ended well. I would have been like, why did I share my body with him? Why did I share this intimate experience with him? And that is a huge thing that like my sobriety, my therapy, my celibacy journey, you know, it was like failed celibacy. There was like a lot of, not a lot of blowjobs along the way, but there were some blowjobs along the way. I just like can't pretend to you guys that I've like been actively, actually celibate. Anyway, because of like the combination of these things and my like mid to poor performance of celibacy, I basically had like stopped ever hooking up with anyone or sleeping with anyone until multiple months into a relationship. And that was something that I actually implemented in my 20s. From like around the age of 25, I don't think I ever did a one night stand or slept with anyone again until I really understood that they were worthy of holding this body of mine and my soul and my spirit and my emotions and all of those things. So thank God for therapy. Thank God for self-awareness, because I started to see the red flags. And those red flags were stuff like, let's hang out soon. Like, stop it. My God, my cat is like crying in the background. That's probably like the spirit of him like crying through the cat. Lol. Anyway, it became very clear that despite this insane chemistry with this person, there was no intention on his side to get to know me, to invest in me, etc., etc. And from my side, there was no intention to engage in casual sex. So despite the fact that we had these amazing experiences when we hung out together, for me, it was like, this ends here. And there were also some more red flags along the way. Like, I remember he would like message me, and then he would like unsend the message the next day, and I noticed that he'd unsent it, and there was just some shit that I was just like, no, Mr. Brazilian, you're in your 40s. Like, if you like genuinely actually were emotionally available and open, you would be like, holy fuck, this girl is potentially the love of my life. I would like to get to know her. I want to spend time with her. And he didn't do any of those things. So I remember the last time that we hung out together. I bumped into him. I was on the beach. I was on my own. Remember, at this point, I've only been in Tulum for like 2 months. I don't know anyone. My friends had just left. Vanika and Alex had left. I was spending a lot of time on my own. And I remember we were on the beach and we bumped into each other. We spent like 2.5 hours together, like lying there. And it was one of those days when the moon was out and the sun was out. And it was just so special. And he was like taking photos of me and videos of me. And we both felt this like insane feeling between us. Like, it would get to the point that like I couldn't even look him in the eyes. It was like so intense when we shared eye contact. And he would be like, I mean, this is a very Tulum thing, but he would be like, I just feel this like fucking energy of like creation with you. I mean, like, lol. No man in England would say that, but like in Tulum, this is like very normal language. He was like, I just feel it's so intense. Like, I want to be with you and create with you and maybe even like create life with you. Okay, this is where the story gets like really wild. So he said that to me, and obviously I'm like, wow, okay, like, yeah, I really feel something too, but like, you know, just because you feel something doesn't mean that there is anything. Now, on the point of creation, the next day I wake up and my friend, who I'm actually no longer friends with. I could do a podcast on that at some point. My friend who I'm no longer friends with, she is like pretty psychic, and she emailed me or called me. She did not email me. She actually emailed me to break up with me. That's why I said that. She texted me and she was like, I had a dream last night with you and Mr. Brazilian. And I had a dream that you were on the beach in Brazil and you had 2 baby boys together. Now, what was so fucking weird was at the time that she sent me this message, I was on the treadmill. It was like 9 a.m. in the morning. And in the gym, there were these 2 little boys that looked just like him. And they were like playing on the treadmills next to me. And I had already messaged him a photo of these boys being like, this is crazy. Like, if I was to ever see my future with you, it would be these kids right here. Like, it was that crazy. So there was a lot of weird things happening during this time that I was like, why are all of these things pointing to the fact that there's like something going on here but I know in my conscious and rational and therapy brain that there is not. So this is where things get really juicy, because a couple of days later, I met my now boyfriend. Now, I'm a big believer that things that are meant for you will not pass you. And so I go through my life knowing that everything that is meant for me is either with me right now or it's going to come back around if it's already left. And this is like across business deals, across friendships, across everything. It's a really nice way to live. And the first time I met my boyfriend, we did not exchange details. He was at work, he's super professional. And I left the hotel that he was working in without his number, without his Instagram. And honestly, I left and I said to my friend, I was like, maybe that was my soulmate, because like, why didn't I get his details? Now, again, at this point, I'm mainly on my own, but I'd like met a few other friends and they were like, we should go to this rooftop on a Sunday night. So I'm like, absolutely, let's do that. That would be so fun. And it's at the hotel where my boyfriend used to work. But I was thinking, he's in like the senior management team. There's no way he's going to be there on a Sunday night, blah, blah, blah. So we go in, we walk up to the roof, bam. Who the fuck is sat there? Who the fuck is sat there? Oh, it's only my boyfriend and Mr. Brazilian sat together having a conversation. Can you fucking even? I remember when I walked in, my heart literally like shot out of my chest. Fuck me. I was like, how are the only two men in Tulum that I'm like interacting with? How are they sat next to each other right now? Like, how is this even possible? When you get to know Tulum, you realize that like, that is exactly what Tulum is like. Everyone knows everyone. Like, it's not surprising at all. But my heart like literally left my throat, because there was the guy, Mr. Brazilian, that I have this insane connection with. And I had seen him 2 days earlier. And like when we left the beach, we had this like embrace that was just like, oh my God, I'd never felt anything like it. It was like this fucking life force like pumping through my body. And then there was the guy sat next to him that I actually wanted to get to know. And they were sat there together. So I go and talk to Mr. Brazilian. But like, honestly, when you're like disassociated as fuck because you are so overwhelmed, that was exactly what happened. And then as like the night went on, I started talking to my now boyfriend. And from the moment that I met him, he basically said, I want to get to know you. I'd love to take you for dinner. How does tomorrow night at 8 sound? So this happened on a Sunday night. He took me out the next day, Monday night, 8 p.m. He organized the dinner. He picked me up in the car. He did every single thing that I had been learning about in therapy, that I had been talking about in therapy. He did it. Compared to Mr. Brazilian, who I had this insane experience with, but like he didn't want to do that. So of course I was like, this is amazing. This is like everything that I have wanted. And I think this guy is equally as handsome, so great, so kind, etc., etc. And I will tell you that when I had my first kiss with my boyfriend, it was like the most insane full body experience, but it was like different. It was like full of love and warmth and safety and butterflies, whereas the other guy made me feel like I was gonna fucking pass out. It was like that intense. And that's what I've started to realize over time, is like often it is actually those full body fucking galvanization experiences that often are a sign of something deeper going on, like a soul tie, like a past life connection, like a karmic experience, rather than it actually being the soulmate label that so many people think about. But now this is where shit gets really interesting. I'm also like sweating a lot telling this story, and my legs get so sore when I record, so I'm just going to shuffle my position. So this is where things started to get dramatic, because a soul tie is all well and good when you guys are like having the time of your life, experiencing it, looking into each other's eyes and being like, wow, I've never felt this before. A soul tie is not so fun when it starts to actually teach you the lesson that it came to teach you. So by that, I mean, I had a decision to make, and I obviously went for the healthier of the two men, in my opinion, which was the one that was more emotionally open, the one that was more emotionally available, the one that actually wanted to get to know me, the one that actually wanted to be there to invest in me, rather than have me chasing around Tulum like a little girl, like, where is this guy? Like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because that is what we do when we are unhealed, when we are wounded. So I explained to my boyfriend about Mr. Brazilian. He said he knew him, and he said some things about him that I'm not going to like shit talk him, because I actually have a huge amount of like love and time and respect for this guy, which I will get into. But he basically said like, yeah, he's been with a lot of women in Tulum and like, et cetera, et cetera. None of which were my boyfriend being derogatory to him. My boyfriend doesn't really talk badly of anyone. He just told me some objective facts. And that helped me put into context that like, okay, maybe this guy was like this with loads of people. And I don't think that it detracted from the experience that we shared together. But I think it helped me understand that part of why he wasn't ready or interested in investing in me was that he was obviously just like running all over the show with loads of other women, but also like, you're 42 years old, so like grow up. Anyway, I decided to continue to invest in my boyfriend, but I am not one for being intimate with two people. And I wasn't even being intimate with the other guy, but I bumped into the other guy one last time. And again, it was at the beach. We spent some time together. I told my boyfriend all about this, and I explained to him that I was getting to know this guy. And it felt like it could be something real for me. And it didn't take away from the fact that I had a very amazing experience with him, but that was kind of where I was at. And it's really important for me to be open and honest with everyone in my life. So I had that conversation. And when we left the beach, I remember the way he looked in my eyes was like, I don't know if I've ever experienced someone look at me like that before. It was like, when he looked at me, it was like I had known him in every fucking lifetime that I had ever lived. It was like, I knew this person. I loved this person. I knew every single thing about this person, except I didn't know anything about him at all. And that's why I'm saying, if you are not into spirituality, just leave this episode now. You will think I'm fucking cuckoo. But if you've experienced this, you will know. So he left. That was it. I messaged Emmanuel. I think I went and spent the evening with him. I said I met with Mr. Brazilian, and I told him that like, you and me are locked in. We're going to do this. We're going to see where this goes. Anyway, later that evening, I get a text message from Mr. Brazilian. And Mr. Brazilian basically says like, I'm out, you know, Emma, my boyfriend, is like such a good guy. Like, I wish you all the best. And I was like, wow, okay, that's very respectable. And like, okay, it felt a little bit like a bit of a snap message, but you know, it was nice of him to say like, I'm friends with him. I respect him. I don't want to do this. Emmanuel was like, we're not friends. So like, that was a weird message for him to say, but all is good. That is the point that the story ended in the physical realm. Da, da, da. What do you mean the physical realm, Louise? That is when the soul tie kicked in. So this is where shit gets weird. 2 days later, Vanika is like, oh, Louise, have you looked at Mr. Brazilian's Instagram story? And I'm like, no. So I go and I look at his Instagram story. He's blocked me from his story. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. I know we all can like maybe take things differently when things don't work out the way that maybe we had hoped. She was like, no, but you have to see what he's posted. He had. Now, when we spent some time together, I was thinking about getting my first ever tattoo. And I haven't got it to this day because this man, Mr. Brazilian, he stole my tattoo. I had told him that I had sat with this idea for years on end and I was finally ready to get it. It was the word adore. I wanted to get the word adore. He got my tattoo on his neck. She sent me a photo of his story and I just like couldn't get over it. I was like, what the fuck does this mean? This is so crazy. What the fuck? And why has he blocked me from his Instagram story? Anyway, life continued, and a couple of days later, I heard from a friend that, have you heard that Mr. Brazilian has left Tulum? He literally just got up and left. In fact, when I say I heard from a friend, I heard from my friend Audra. Now, you guys will know Audra if you did Daily Devotion, because Audra also spent some time dating Mr. Brazilian. So fucking classic. I didn't even know this. Like, me and Audra became friends before I even knew that she had dated Mr. Brazilian. So clearly all of this was like happening around the same time. But what I know is that this man got up and he left Tulum. Now, I actually didn't know this at the time. I don't think someone had told me at this point. When I tell you, I was in bed for 3 days. I had an agonizing chronic pain flare. Now, if you guys know anything about me, I have fibromyalgia. My body is so sensitive that I feel pain. Not only do I feel pain with like physical experiences, like if I have a virus or like COVID, it is so fucked, the pain I experience. I have a very sensitive body. But what I've also realized through being on this spiritual journey is that I feel the energy of others. I feel pain when the energy of others are like latched onto my being, because that's the thing about energy, right? It can move. There can be energetic attachments that attach onto your light, that attach onto other people. So I did not know what was happening, but I know that I was in the most agonizing pain. Also, if you're watching on video, do you love that I'm stroking this pillow? It's just so soft. It's like very therapeutic. I was in so much pain. I was literally in bed. I did not know what to do. I was like, I haven't had a pain flare like this in like a really long time. I don't know what's happening. Like nothing has changed. I really don't understand. So I messaged my healer. We got on a session, a Zoom session. I was literally in bed. I was like, I'm in so much pain. Like I can't move. My whole body hurts. Everything hurts. And I didn't tell him anything, because I didn't even think it was anything to do with Mr. Brazilian at this point. Anyway, he like taps into my body. He uses muscle testing to ask my body, to ask my spirit, to ask my soul, basically like yes or no questions. And he told me that like 3 days ago, someone left Tulum. It was a male. They were this age. And when they left their, I can't remember if it was his soul or his spirit, but he left it in my body. He left it like in my vicinity. And my healer explained to me that this was because like often if we can't be with people in the 3D world, like in this physical reality where we really want to be, then often our spirit or our soul will kind of like go and do like what it wants to do if it desperately longs to be with someone, if it desperately yearns to be with someone. And that is what happened. He left Tulum and he left his fucking soul attached to my soul. Like what the fuck? And that was why I was in so much pain, because like basically all the nerves and the receptors in my body were almost like being stimulated by this energy that like was not mine. Okay. So this is crazy. So it was at this point that I realized like, okay, wow, I've never experienced anything like this. And I've never experienced a soul tie. I've never experienced anything like people's energy coming onto me. And this was really the beginning of me understanding what a soul tie actually is. Fast forward on this journey, that man did not come back to Tulum for maybe a year, maybe a year and a half. Now, we did not follow, or maybe we did follow each other on Instagram at this point. I think we did for this year. I don't think either of us unfollowed each other. And I think that's why I knew he wasn't in Tulum, because he was just traveling around the world and like doing what he does best, which is like run away from real life, which is really sad. And I really hope that he can heal that in himself at some point. And when I tell you that during this period that we never spoke again, bearing in mind I've only met this guy like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and that we've never been intimate, like nothing has ever even happened except for these moments where we are like together, but like nothing's happening, but we are just like together and like, what the fuck is this energy? When I tell you that he would like appear in my dreams like probably once a week. Now, when you start to learn about the dream world, you start to think that it's only your dreamscape. You start to think it's only your dreamscape. So if you are dreaming of someone, you think that you are dreaming of someone. My work on this spiritual path and this spiritual journey has helped me understand and learn about the astral. It's helped me understand how we have different dream spaces in different dimensions, and we can meet different people from different lives when we're asleep. Basically, when our conscious mind goes to sleep, that is when our subconscious, that is when our soul, that's when our spirit can go and journey. And you can either go into other people's dream spaces, they can come into yours, or you can kind of meet cohabitually in the astral. Now, every time I would dream of him, I would like write it down in a dates book, and I would work with my healer, and I would never tell him, I would never say to him like it happened on this day or this happened. And he would say to me, there's like energetic gateways that are open, I need to close them for you. And I think that you're dreaming of this person like at least once a week. You're meeting in like the 5D. Now this is where it's fucked, because the last time that I ever saw this guy, he said to me, if we're meant to be together, we will be together. And I feel like if we ever have sex, we are going to literally go to the 5D together. What the fuck? And I was like, what is the 5D? I don't even fucking know what that is. And then my fucking healer was like, yeah, he's coming into your dream space in the 5D. Like, what the actual fuck? So anyway, this was like, time goes on and I'm in like such a happy relationship. I'm in such a healthy relationship. Like we don't speak, there's nothing. Like I am focused on me. I'm focused on my business. I'm focused on my boyfriend. I'm focused on my partner. I'm focused on our life. We are in such a good place. Like the first year and a half of our relationship was just a fucking dream. Like I have never been happier in any relationship than I was with my boyfriend. Like imagine falling in love and being in paradise. Imagine falling in love and being in Tulum. It was just like nothing I've ever experienced. Now soul ties always come back around. This is where the story continues. So I flew to LA for my birthday, not last year because I had the worst fucking birthday of my life, but the year before. Now I remember that I posted a story at the airport of my feet and my suitcase, and I was like off again. And this guy, Mr. Brazilian, replied to my story. They always say what doesn't kill you comes back 6 months later. And in this case, it's exactly what happened, except it was 18 months later. Now, I was going to LA at that point. I did not text him back, I don't think. I was going for Spotify recordings. It was like a big thing for me. And also, it was like, I didn't want to be disrespectful to my boyfriend. You know, I told my boyfriend, he messaged me. I did not reply, I believe. Again, it's all very blurry, but I think that's what happened. And remember what I said about Tulum, which is where like you bump into people like all the fucking time in Tulum if you are meant to. But once the story is done, once the string is done, once the cycle is done, you will never bump into that person ever again. And that's the thing about the invisible string theory is like, if you are attached to someone and you have lessons to learn from them and with them, you will not be able to avoid each other. You will meet people through other people. You will meet in places. There will be coincidences. There will be synchronicities until you have learned your lesson. And I remember I came straight back to Tulum, and I think I arrived on a Saturday and I went to the beach on a Sunday. And on the way back from the beach, I went to the supermarket, this Chedraui place that everyone's like obsessed with. My boyfriend is obsessed with it. The only thing I'll say is the supermarket soundtrack in Chedraui is a fucking vibe. Like, I'm always having a party in there. Anyway, I don't live there anymore, so Chedraui, I miss you. But I remember walking into Chedraui and bam, who is there? Mr. Brazilian is walking in as I'm walking out. It was a fucking crazy experience. Like, you know, again, when you just like kind of black out because you're like, whoa, this is like super overwhelming. My nervous system can't take this. He was like, oh my God, hi, how are you? And I was like, I'm so good, how are you? And he was like, I'm so good, how are you? And I was like, I'm so good, how are you? Like, the conversation didn't really make any sense. And then I left because my boyfriend arrived. Like, my boyfriend wasn't even going to come to Chedraui. I can't even say it, but my boyfriend's obsessed with Chedraui, so he just like goes for fun. So he went to Chedraui and then we all ended up stood there together. Like, the universe literally was like, oh, Mr. Brazilian and Louise, we're going to bring you back together, but we're also going to bring Emmanuel back into the situation to show Mr. Brazilian that yes, Emmanuel is still in this fucking picture. Okay, so that was that. And we went home and I was like, I'm going to unfollow him on Instagram. I went on, he'd already unfollowed me. And I was like, fine, there's going to be no connection here. You know, just get on with all of our lives. Like, don't need drama. I'm in such a good space. I'm so in love. I'm so happy. Everything is great. We are not going to rock the boat. Particularly when I know that like, there's nothing to rock the boat for, you know, I made a choice and I made the right choice. So it was like, let's continue. Anyway, the next morning I went to the gym and the class starts at like 9 or 8. I can't even remember. And I did my usual thing. 8:50, I would go to the coffee shop next door. I'd get my espresso after I've already had breakfast, don't worry. And then I'd walk to the class and I'd do the class. Now, this is actually comical. I remember walking up to this coffee house and who was in there? No one, empty. Mr. Brazilian. Mr. Brazilian and his motorbike right there. Guys, if you could get a video of what happened, it was so fucking funny because I froze and I walked backwards in that frozen position as he turned round. So he would have turned round and I'm walking backwards. Like, oh my God, it would have been very funny. Anyway, at that point, you've got to be like, oh, hey, sorry, I didn't see you there. Like, yeah, I literally was just walking backwards so we didn't have to like bump into each other. Anyway, he was on a work call. I had like 5 minutes. I also remember I had slept so fucking badly. I think it was like the adrenaline of the day before. I had slept so badly and I just was like, God, this is just like not what I need right now. But I was like, you good? Gave him a thumbs up. You good? And he was like, I'm good, are you? And he was like, come, sit down. So I like sat down next to him for like 1 minute and he was like, let's hang, let's catch up. You know, I think we were speaking about Cape Town. He just got back from Cape Town. I was about to go to Cape Town. I was like, oh, I'm leaving in a week to go to Cape Town. He was like, I'll give you recommendations if you need. I was like, I don't fucking need them. We've had a house in South Africa for 10 years, like maybe 15 years. I don't need them, but thank you so much. He was like, we should hang out. And I was like, I have to go to my workout class. Texted my boyfriend on the way to the workout class being like, you will never guess who I just bumped into. Fine. So we came out of the workout class and I just had this feeling like I need to meet with him and I need to close this door because if we're going to keep bumping into each other, there needs to be a closure to this situation that like never happened before because he sent me that text, he disappeared, and then I was in pain and I kept having all these dreams. So I messaged him with everything I've learned from therapy saying, hi, I'd like to have a conversation with you. Can you please meet me here at 3:30? There was no emotion in this. It wasn't like, I'm excited to see you. It was like, for me, I knew that I had to close an energetic gateway. And that is exactly what we did. So we met and we had this conversation. this conversation was like kind of crazy because in a way he sort of said that since he left me, he kind of realized that like maybe I was everything that like he wanted in a woman. I think he's very used to dating women that he would like fly around the world and like pay for everything for, whereas I'm the total fucking opposite. Like, sit down, strap your balls in, I will pay for you, thank you very much. I'm working on it. I know it's not like the best trait, but I'm basically the total opposite of, I think, the type of women that he dated. Anyway, it was so nice to see him in person. Like, despite everything, despite the weirdness, despite the like weird, uncomfortable situations, despite the fact that there was tension between him and my boyfriend, at the core of it, like when I spend time with this man, it is so full of love, so full of warmth, so full of happiness. It feels like we've known each other for lifetimes. And the irony of that is because we actually have. So we had this conversation and I basically said to him, like, you know, I'm in a great place. I'm in a great relationship. We never closed the circle last time. Like, I hope all is good. And I know we're going to bump into each other here. So, you know, no bad vibes. It was all good. He felt exactly the same way. We kind of closed that door and were then just sort of able to get on with our lives. So we parted ways again, and then I went to South Africa and the dreams started happening again. And this time they were like really intense. It was like every other night. So I did another session with my healer and he explained to me, like, Louise, you have shared like 9 past lives with this man. You have met this man in so many lifetimes. The average person shares like 3 past lives with like their soul family. Okay. So we all have a soul family. Like, we come back in different lifetimes, kind of with the same soul family in different rotations. So your mum might be your sister, your lover might come back as your brother, your mum might come back as your child. It's all very fucking weird, but it's kind of this soul family concept. And obviously that changes. New characters come in and come out, but there is this soul family and it does involve animals as well, which I love. I think that's amazing. So he explained to me, like, you have been together in so many lives. You have been in love in so many lives. That is why you feel this energetic rollover of love for this person, but you don't know this person. You do not know this person in this reality. And my healer helped me understand that this person in this lifetime came to help me break the cycle of choosing emotionally unavailable men. Because through me having done all of this work and then having the side-by-side parallel of my boyfriend and Mr. Brazilian, it being a black and white choice, like, who are you going to go for? The emotionally unavailable, charismatic guy that you have the best fucking chemistry with in the world, but that doesn't want to take you out for dinner, that will literally like fuck your socks off in the bedroom, but like doesn't want to go for a coffee, or the guy that is passionate and safe and stable and calm and your best friend and emotionally available and wants to build a life with you. My healer helped me understand that Mr. Brazilian came along to help me in this lifetime break that cycle. And vice versa, I came along in this lifetime to be the first person that had ever not chosen Mr. Brazilian, because I chose Emmanuel over Mr. Brazilian. And that was a huge ego lesson for Mr. Brazilian. Apparently, I'm like the first girl that has ever not chosen him in his life, because this guy gets whatever he wants. He is so charismatic, very sexy, very intelligent, very rich, flies all around the world, you name it. I don't doubt he has fucked hundreds of women and quite literally got whatever he wanted. Until he met me, because he did not get me. He did not touch me. He did not kiss me, but we connected. And my healer helped me understand that in this lifetime, I was to show him how it feels to release the ego, to be rejected, to experience that pain underneath that he would never experience in his day-to-day life because he got chosen by everybody. So in a way, I didn't choose him and he didn't choose me. And it was a past life connection that we came back to in this life to help us both elevate and expand into, I guess, like the next versions of us. But through this experience where it was like painful and confusing and like amazing with these like highs and then also these uncomfortable experiences. And I learned through this experience and through working with my healer that this connection would bring us both closer back to our true essence. And that was nothing to do with the other person. We were just able to activate that in each other to help us continue on this journey called life. And that soul tie did not mean anything other than we have experienced many lifetimes together before. And in this lifetime, we came to teach each other rather than to love each other. So that is my crazy soul tie story. I no longer live in Tulum, so I would say that this is like probably the end of these cycles. I mean, I think they ended a long time ago, but anyone that has ever been a part of a soul tie, been a part of a past life connection, been a part of a karmic connection, you will understand that the energy lingers on even if you don't see someone. You can feel someone's presence for 5 to 10, even longer years after being with someone in the physical realm because you are connected in the energetic realm. And if you are listening to this, not understanding soul ties, not understanding energetic connections, having never experienced this with someone, you will be like, Louise, you are batshit fucking mad. Like, what are you doing? You clearly should have just gone to date the other guy. But it's not about that. I should not have gone to a date the other guy. I chose the exact path that was right for me, the exact path that was in my highest interest. I chose the healthiest, most beautiful, expansive, blooming relationship that has supported me to grow and expand. And I would never have been able to do that if it wasn't thanks to this guy. And there were times that he tried to be friends with me. And I'm not going to lie, I would love to be friends with him, but it's not respectful to my partner to do that. It's not respectful to be connected with someone that is not your partner in an energetic way. And I explained that to Mr. Brazilian. And I don't know how he felt about that, but that was the truth. And one thing I'm so proud about in this situation is I've always been honest with myself, my partner, and Mr. Brazilian. And it feels amazing to not have to hide anything, to have no shame. And the really amazing thing as well is that like my boyfriend, being Mexican, being spiritual, spending 7 years living in Tulum, he understands about these soul connections. He understands about these soul ties. He understands what was going on here. And he also understands that love is freedom. Love is saying, Louise, if you need to go and explore that connection to close a cycle or to learn something about yourself, then you can do that. Like, obviously don't fucking have sex with him, but like, we're just in such an amazingly healthy relationship that allows me to expand, that I know that if I did say to him one day, like, I need to speak to Mr. Brazilian, like, that will never happen. I have nothing to say to him. I just hypothetically know that my boyfriend would let me do that. And that's why I know that I'm in the healthiest relationship with such a kind, calm, respectful man. So that is my crazy story. And I want to just give you guys a bit of info on like what was going on here in case you didn't really understand. So in the spiritual world, a soul tie is more than just an emotional or psychological bond. It's an energetic link, a cord, a connection that you can't see between two people, but it transcends time and space. So it's basically threads of energy connecting you and another person. And it keeps you connected whether you're in physical contact and long after they have left your life. So signs of a soul tie. Number one, you can feel their energy even when they're not around. And by that, I mean, you're not just thinking about them, you feel something in your body. 2, you dream about them, you enter into their astral space, they enter into your astral space, or you meet in the astral. 3, you feel like you've known this person before. There's like a feeling of knowing or longing or yearning, which often doesn't really correlate to how you actually know them in the physical world. And 4, there may be many synchronicities and coincidences that bring you and this person together until you have learned the lesson that you came to learn with that individual in this life. 5, it might feel like there is just like this instant recognition, like you know this person, like you're just picking up where you left off, even though you don't really know them. And the connection feels like too strong, too fast. It's like a pull. It is so fucking intense. I've lost track of numbers. I think we're at 6. And intense, but you will have like intense emotional reactions to them. And it doesn't really make sense logically. It's like, why is this person impacting me in this way? Like, I don't even know them. Why do I even care? But you feel it like in your body, in your heart, in your gut, in your intuition, maybe even in your pelvis. They might awaken that sexual energy in you. They might awaken your life force. You will feel it in your body. This knowing that there is something about this connection that is out of the ordinary. Number 8, they might feel like home, even though you literally have hardly even met them before. And that is so weird. You know, I can't explain how at home I felt with this person. I honestly, like, my boyfriend is my definition of home. But before I built that with him, I had it instantly with this other guy. but it wasn't real home. It wasn't the real safety that I've built in this 3D reality with my boyfriend. It was an energetic home. It was just like we knew each other. It felt like home. But that doesn't mean that it is your actual home in this life. Now, not all past life connections and karmic connections are supposed to be romantic. Some of them will come in family situations, pet situations, friendship situations. But soul ties are generally created when you have karmic connections from a past life. I'm going to talk more about this. And also you have like unfinished spiritual business with someone. So maybe in your last life, you were meant to learn lessons with someone and you didn't learn those lessons. You didn't complete those lessons. Maybe someone fell off track and you didn't finish the string theory where you were supposed to come together and then move apart once the lesson had been learned. Now, soul ties are also created through physical intimacy. So sex actually means sacred energy exchange. That is one of the reasons that I stopped having sex with people, because I was like, yo, I did not need your dirty fucking energy from you and the 250 women that you've slept with in the last month in my energy space that I spend so much time clearing and purifying. But yeah, sexual energy exchange is very real. So be careful who you're having sex with, is all I'm going to say. Now, let's dig into a tiny bit more about how these past life connections can roll over into this life. Now, if you believe in this, you will believe that we have multiple lives, we come back multiple times, and in each lifetime, we learn different lessons from different people, different hardships, different beautiful experiences. And often your soul remembers what your mind doesn't. So it's like you can have energetic imprints of things you've lived through before, almost like encoded into your body. So your mind can't consciously make sense of it, but your body feels it. And that's very difficult for your conscious mind to be able to rationalize when you feel it in your body. And I know that that was one of the hardest things when I was trying to explain this to my boyfriend, was like, I don't even know this guy, but I feel that I know this guy. And it took him a while to like be okay with that. Obviously, most men like in today's society would not be okay with someone saying that. So I'm just very lucky to be in this relationship that I'm in. But really, in the spiritual world, these things come from energy exchange in a past life. Like maybe you didn't finish the lessons that you were supposed to learn in that life because things ended without closure or without betrayal or with betrayal or some kind of imbalance. And it can kind of roll over into this lifetime, like almost like that lesson didn't get completed then, like you need to complete it in this lifetime. And when we're born, in fact, before we're born, our soul and our spirit enter our body. But the energy of past lives and past connections don't like get erased every time you do that. There's almost some residue that comes over from the past life. And this is why for many people, you see patterns going on in your life until you break them. We come here to learn and live specific experiences. Some of them awfully painful, some of them beautiful. And it is once we have learned these lessons that we can close the cycle, tick the box, and close the door. And I feel like that is what I did in this situation. By going on this journey, by understanding that it came to teach me something, by working out what was that it came to teach me, by getting clear on exactly what it was that it came to teach me, seeing the lesson, thanking the lesson, and acknowledging just because I feel these things for this man that didn't even want to take me for dinner does not mean that that was my soulmate. I made all of the right decisions on my journey. And I am just so grateful to have this healer to guide me on this experience. I'm so grateful to have my mum, who is so spiritual, very psychic, and has taught me about all of these things from a young age. And I guess most of all, I think I was just really lucky to have these people because they helped me realize that just because a soul tie or a past life connection is strong and is intense, it doesn't mean that you're meant to be with that person forever or even in this life. You know, the spiritual world teaches us that not all connections are about love. Some of them are about evolution. So you do need to ask yourself, like, is this connection healing me or hurting me? Does it bring me peace or is it bringing me chaos and uncertainty in my life? And am I growing through this connection or is it just keeping me stuck in old wounds and patterns? And what I've learned is that if you've learned the lesson, you can let go without losing anything because you're not losing something because it was never yours to lose. It came to teach you a lesson. We can thank that lesson and we can continue to evolve, knowing that if it is ever meant to come back into our lives, it will. Because when the job is done, you are allowed to let them go. You are allowed to thank them. You are allowed to still feel pain over what they did or which wounds they posted or poked. We're allowed to feel resentful and sad and angry. We're allowed to think we're in love with them. Whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay. But when the job is done, you need to let them go, knowing that if they are meant to come back, they will. Now, I want to wrap up today's episode by talking about how to break a soul tie and how to reclaim your energy. There are a number of ways that you can do this. Now, engaging in spiritual hygiene is super important. So you can use sage, you can use Palo Santo, you can clean your house, you can clean your body. Clean is not the right word. It's probably clear is what I meant. You can clear those spaces of energy in your spaces, on your spaces. Because for me, I now know when I have the energy of other people on me because I will physically feel pain. I feel pain in the back of my neck and I feel pain in one of my shoulder blades. And that is when I know that there is energy quite literally hanging onto the back of me. So I can clean it off. So that's the first thing that I would do. Secondly, before you go to bed every night, I would say, please unlock and unblock and release anything that is not in my highest interest to help my evolution, to help me grow. Phrase it however you want it, but use the words unblock, unlock, and release. Next, you can do energetic cord cutting rituals. You can find these online. You can find these on YouTube. What's really important in this space is using your intention, setting an intention that it's really time to let go of this. You are ready to let go. You are ready to move on. And I would always combine these energetic cord cutting sessions right after you've done some somatic shaking, because you want to bring your energy, your life force up. You want to bring their energy up and you want to then release it and let it go. You can do past life regression meditations and see if you get any clarity around like who this person is and what you were in a past life with them. I've never done that in this situation, but I did that with an ex. It was so crazy. I saw us in this past life regression meditation. We were literally 5 years old. We lived in Egypt. We were two little boys playing together. And we had like all these warts all over our knee. We had no shoes on. We were like super poor. And it was just so amazing to understand that like, even though my ex fucking broke my heart, it was exactly the same as this. He came to teach me a lesson, which was to finally learn to love myself. Because when he left me, I had no other option than to actually go into the darkness, face the darkness, and start to come home to myself. So you can do a past life regression meditation. And also you can thank them in the energetic world. It doesn't need to be in the physical world. Often having a conversation with them like doesn't even help. And it did help me in my situation. I'm grateful that I did what I did, but I would never have another conversation with him. You know, if he messaged me saying, I want to meet with you, like, I just don't think there's anything to say. So I don't think that that is ever going to happen. This cycle for me is done. But you can say things like, thank you for what you came here to teach me. I release you with love, and release someone with gratitude instead of resentment. And when you start to do that, the energy resolves because you are not like holding on to them so tightly. And I think that that's when you realize that your soul tie isn't your destiny. Your healing is. So that is the end of today's lesson. And that is probably all we have time for today. I mean, this was a fucking whirlwind. I've never shared this story in the way that I did with many people other than those closest to me. Those closest to me know the story. They have seen the story live in action, and some of them know him as well. So that was kind of crazy. But I am really grateful for you sharing this space with me and like sharing it sacredly, sharing it safely, giving me space to share this story. And the reason I'm sharing this story has nothing to do with me. I don't need to share this story. I finished this cycle, like this happened years ago for me. I'm sharing this story because I know that other people are going through the same thing. And I know that they think that it's limerence and they can't stop thinking about them. But I think it's so helpful to understand that actually on a spiritual level, this person has come to teach you something deeper. And the question is, what have they come to teach you? What have they come to show you? Which deepest, most painful wound have they come to poke, to prod, to cause you pain? How can you use them to evolve? How can you use them so one day you will thank them? Thank them for the pain they caused you. Thank them for the uncertainty they've caused you. Thank them for the obsession that they generated in you. Because obsession just shows some unhealed part of us that has not closed cycles and doors and windows. These people are just reflections into areas of us that still require love, still require understanding, and still require growth. Thank you so much for joining. Please send this on to anyone that you think would value it. And please text me, message me on Instagram. And I would so appreciate, if you haven't already, please go and give the podcast a 5-star review. I'm getting to this point in my journey where I don't know how sustainable this podcast is becoming anymore. The amount of time that it takes from me versus the amount of money it costs to produce it, even with the advertising, is becoming a bit of a question mark in my life, if I'm honest. And I cannot believe I'm saying that because this changed my life. But when you support me, when you post it to social media, when you review it, you help me so much. Most of all, thank you for being you. Thank you for being here with me. I love you so much. So do my cats. I love it whenever I tell a spiritual story. They come, they join me. Cats are the ultimate spiritual protectors. They protect the spiritual realm. It's so amazing. I never understood that, but they are truly incredible. When they purr, they heal you. These are my little spiritual masters and guides that are protecting me whilst I tell this story in case Mr. Brazilian's energy wants to come in this space because I'm talking about him. I love you guys so much. I will see you on the next episode of Healing Honeys. And until then, take care of yourself.